Hey good people, Batavia here. We're gonna do a July container garden tour. See you in a few. Okie doke, quick housekeeping. Thank yous to those who like, watch, subscribe, comment, and share Be Better Garden. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, consider it because there's a button below. And if you do, hit that notification bell so you'll be alerted each time I share more #GardenJoy. Okie doke, so we are up early in the morning trying to beat the city. We have a walkthrough of the containers that we're growing in. There are some other videos I'll put in the description. So the June container garden tour, the link will be below, as well as some of the other things we've done with the containers this year. All right, so let's dig in. Alrighty, so we've moved some things around since the last tour, but almost all of the containers are still producing, let's say. So this is the early bush scallop squash plant, and you know the leaves have gone back and forth. You can see that there are some bees that are buzzing around, but the plant has not produced yet. So I've seen the blossoms, I've seen what looks like pollinating. I could probably hand pollinate, but I haven't done that yet. But I have noticed a little bit of ickiness here. So I have in another container suffered from some squash vine borer issues, and I think that it's attacking that plant as well. So I'm actually looking to get a remedy for that. I'm going to actually hopefully get some BT and then inject it. It's been a recommendation. It kind of freaks me out, but that's the plan, to see if I can scare that that ickiness out. So stay tuned on that. I'm gonna walk around and show you some of the other more promising containers. So the last tour, I think I had just dropped the seeds for some yellow summer squash, and so I ended up transplanting one of the plants into a 5-gallon bucket, and it's not produced veggies yet, but it's looking good so far. These are the sweet potatoes. So they were planted around mid-June, so they're about 6 weeks old. The vines look pretty healthy. I have had some Japanese beetles eating on a lot of things, including some of the leaves here. I felt like I've done a really good job with keeping these bags watered. These are 20-gallon bags, so time will tell. We still have a bit of time left for these to continue to grow, but just from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm loving what they're doing with the trellis and kind of vining up, or I guess, yeah, the vines are trellising up, the vines are crawling up the trellis, one of those things. So far so good with the sweet potatoes. They were Beauregard is a variety that I'm growing over here, and then there are a couple of other plants that I don't know the exact variety. I just bought them from a big box store and started the slips indoors. But so far so good on the sweet potatoes. So let's come around. We're kind of gonna mix in some of the good with some of the not so good. So this was the original zucchini plant that I was getting zucchini off of. I've probably gotten 3 or 4, but you can tell down here as well that it suffered from some fungus there. I actually had its sister plant that was in a 5-gallon bucket. It the stem completely broke off. So I'll put a shot in of what that looked like, but that's unfortunate. It happens. Again, I'm going to try to treat some of these other squash plants. Not sure if I'll be able to save them or not. So this is a, good morning. This is a yellow squash. This is the one I mentioned that I think I had just dropped the seeds for in the June tour. And let's see. Thought I had a tag here. So far so good. I've harvested my first yellow squash of the season. I have another one that I'm gonna pick today. See, it's pretty sizable. So it's looking good. These are I think it's either 15 or 17 gallons, but these black containers I use quite a bit in this container gardening this year. So that is the front yard and what I have in containers. Just a quick view. I know it's just wildness. We just did a front yard tour last week, if you're interested, where I dug into the beds and kind of talked through what I'm growing. But let's go ahead and move to the backyard where we're growing some other things. Okie doke, so the sun's about to come out, so I want to try to get some of these in before it becomes unbearable. So this is two of the tomato plants. I have a cherry tomato plant here, which I had to prune a bunch of the leaves down below. I think I didn't do the best job with fertilizing and kind of keeping the nutrients inside of this plant. I think maybe even I've been watering it out. So I've gotten a couple of cherry tomatoes last night for a salad. You can see there's some red ones. I've left this like uncovered, and so far I haven't had any struggles with squirrels, but you know, it's only a matter of time. This is the early girl container. This is the early girl plant. I actually have what would be my first whole tomato back there that I've tried to cover with some plastic. So I'm hoping to leave this on the vine just another couple of days. But I've had some blossom end rot with this plant, and I've tried to treat it with some what is it called? I can't think. Lime. So you can see that even right here, there's another tomato that is going to be lost to that. So I can't remember for sure. Almost all of the containers I used fresh soil, potting mix, and mixing in compost. Some of them though I used my potting mix from last year that I grew flowers in. So I wonder if this was deficient to begin with when it comes to nutrients. I'm not sure. Obviously it's a bigger tomato plant, so it needs a little bit more, but it's like a C- or something so far. So that's the early girl. I'm going to show you one more tomato plant that was doing so well that I actually moved into the cage baby because it was producing tomatoes, and I wanted to make sure I got them and not the squirrels. So this is the patio cherry. So this is in that same kind of black container, and you can see the plant is just smaller, shorter by design than some of the other tomato plants. And yeah, I'm really pleased. I've actually gotten probably a pint of strawberries off of it. A pint of cherry tomatoes off of it. You can see some of them back there that are red. So far so good with this one. Alright, just some ends and odds over here. So some of these are like just extra plants that I started. So this is a cayenne pepper plant that's in like a small container. I'm sure that I got some flower or something from that container. It's just a nursery pot. This is probably like a 3-gallon pot, and I don't remember what pepper plant that's in here, but there are flowers, so hopefully I will have enough season left to get some peppers. This is one of the confetti pepper plants that is doing okay. Again, this is like I think one of my hibiscus came in that, so just repurposed it. And I just did have the heart to throw away some of these, although we know like these peppers aren't going to do anything. But there is, I think that's mint, maybe spearmint. So let's move along. So we have herbs that we're growing. Parsley's doing great. I have cilantro in here that's getting a little bit buried. This is the stevia, and then the sage down below. And I think last time I hadn't planted it yet, but I dropped in oregano over there, and then this is thyme that is doing, I don't know that I've grown it before, so I don't have the best gauge here. Then I have this container here. This is actually one of my flower containers, but when I lost the other zucchini plant, I dropped a couple of seeds in this week to see. I have like, I don't know, like 100 days left in my season. So I'm hoping to be able to get another healthy plant, or at least a healthy plant. But I think the star of the container so far is this lettuce. So they were just basically, you know, just germinating when I showed you guys in June. Now they have taken over, and so I unfortunately misjudged my timing, and I bought like my last package of salad greens from the grocery store, and I've been trying to get through those so I can start eating on these. So these are again said to be heat tolerant, and so far so good. This is a it gets morning sun, as you can see it's coming in, but it's kind of shady, you know, most of the day in the afternoon, so that may impact this positively. But I'm super duper pleased. I'll drop in the names of each of these. I know that I'm growing black seeded Simpson, which I think is down there, Freckles, and I think this is like salad bowl lettuce. So yeah, there it is. So these are some of my favorites. I just pulled them out a little bit. They have been kind of living up against this bed. These were the containers that I repurposed from some starter plants that I bought last year. So this is the confetti pepper. This is so funny to me because this is these confetti peppers, which they'll change into different colors if I leave them on the vine long enough. They are doing much better in these containers than they are in a bed that I have in the front yard garden. So plants are bushier, there are more peppers on it. I'm pretty sure they were planted around the same time, but I think these are more like snack peppers. These won't get as big as like a bell pepper, but I'm super pleased with them. And then I have one of my eggplants. So I've already gotten one eggplant off of it. This, I think, is this container. I think it's too small for this size plant. So I've been trying to care for. You can see a bit of yellowing on the leaves, but I think this is again where I'm sure the root system is much bigger, and I've just not been able to keep it the healthiest. But all in all, it's producing a couple of eggplants. I have a bunch in other places, so all in all, it's okay. I'll reuse these containers next year and just keep that in mind when it comes to planting smaller plants. Maybe more confetti peppers. All right, so I saved the most troubling for last. So this is my potato wall, and I'm trying to not be heartbroken yet because it's still, you know, it's not over yet. But from the last tour, the plants looked pretty good. There was some leaf things going on that I wasn't sure about. And one of my garden pals suggested there may be a fungus. You can still see it on these leaves here, the kind of the way they curl. But the plants, all in all, took a turn over the last couple of weeks. So they've not flowered yet. So this is my first time growing potatoes, and what I've learned is, you know, the plants, they go through this process of, you know, growing up, the leaves, they flower, and then they die back. And so that's the sign for harvesting your potatoes. But these plants over here have not flowered. I see a couple of flowers here. I'm kind of nervous that this may not be my year of the potato, but I'm holding on. I'm continuing to water them. These containers for the blue ones, and these are all 20 gallons, including that grow bag down there. I've just had a hard time with all of the leaves and things, like feeling like I've watered it adequately. So we'll see, you know, as the season progresses and it gets to the point of them being harvested, whatever's in these containers. Obviously I'll let y'all know kind of what I end up with. But yeah, I'm trying to temper my expectations. Potatoes are one of my favorites, so I'm really hoping that it produces something, but I'm preparing myself for if it doesn't. Alrighty, so I appreciate your watching. It's going to be a hot weekend for us here, so I need to start watering some of these containers in particular. But if you have any questions or suggestions or comments, feel free to drop them below, and I appreciate you, and I'll see y'all on the next one.